So, SeeClick Fix is a tool that lets citizens report anything that they want improved in their community to their neighbors, their community groups, and of course, what most people think is most important, their public officials and elected leaders. So these kind of issues range anything from a pothole to graffiti to a street light out to bigger issues like we could really use a supermarket in our neighborhood. Or even we could use a Krispy Kreme in our neighborhood. But any way you look at it, it's citizens rallying together collectively to sometimes force the hand of public officials through public documentation of issues, or sometimes talk about how they can resolve these problems or the things that they want to improve themselves. And it started when I was looking to get graffiti reported and solved, removed in New Haven. I was having trouble getting that done, and I thought the web would be a good place to publicly voice my concerns to city government and to my neighbor who was not removing it at the time. And so we created this website that does that, and specifically it is a website that you can post an issue. It says pothole here, and it sends alerts to governments and others. You know, like I remember this guy from the Associated Press saying to me, this is what I used to do when I was 22 years old and I was starting the beat, was I would go out and I would report potholes, right? And this is the thing that the local press was made to do. They were meant to hold governments accountable. And I'd forgotten all this stuff from journalism school, the whole idea of the fourth estate. But it really, I mean, this is what it's all about, is the local press strapped on resources, having to think more efficiently, more like a startup, figuring out how to use citizen resources to hold governments accountable. It all kind of fit in, and so we have 400 media partners to date, or 400 different local sites that have embedded SeeClick Fix, and many of them are using it not just as a neat tool that connects citizens to their governments and their community, but as a way to find local stories. And the New Haven Independent has done an unbelievable job of this. Journal Inquirer, which we were seen alongside with the New York Times a couple months ago, have really used the tool to find interesting stories. Everything from, you know, speeding school buses with children on it, drug dealers in neighborhoods that have been there forever, the need for better public transportation, the need to improve roads. That's obviously a common one, especially in this budget crisis. We're seeing a ton of stories from our media partners in the Rust Belt where there's citizens reporting hundreds of these issues, and even while SeeClick Fix as a whole has 40% of the issues fixed, in the Rust Belt it's a very different story, and it's because you know, we have municipalities that have no money to fix these problems. We have aging infrastructure, and tax dollars leaving the region like crazy, right? So, you know, this kind of data really leads to some interesting stories. It really leads to some honest and brutal truths about what's going on. Most of them, as far as I can tell, do not reveal poor public leadership in any way. It just reveals a really taxed infrastructure. What's been really exciting on the government end is that it has also revealed that we have a real willingness at the local level by our elected leaders to do something new and progressive and more efficient when it comes to handling our citizens, and that's to let them communicate on an open platform with them outside of a closed box. And I think that's something that shifted tremendously over the last 3 years. We are working with the Washington Post on a release for early June that will include our widgets, but as SeeClick Fix becomes more of a kind of a de facto platform for citizen communicating, and we're saturating more and more markets, it's easier for us to say this city is doing this on a performance level and this city is doing this, and we'll be able to start comparing notes, right? In the beginning you don't have enough data to do that kind of stuff, but we are headed in that direction. And so what the Post is actually going to do is that on the SeeClick Fix page you'll have the widget and you'll have the list of kind of the issues that have been most recently fixed, and the issue that really is like the top community gripe in the region. And then you will have a rating system of how these cities are actually responding. relative to how the citizens are participating, right? So you may have less issues fixed, but you also may, or less issues may be resolved, but um, less issues may be reported as well. And this is really not, for us at least, and it'll be interesting to see how the Post handles it, this is not meant as a strictly a judge of the local government or to hold local government accountable, but to hold the community as a whole accountable, to say, how are we as citizens, governments, media, community groups, businesses, utility companies, how are we responding to our own concerns in our own geography, right? And that's really important to us. We think that government as a platform as opposed to an institution is something that we should all strive for, meaning that our citizens can do some of the work that we have traditionally pointed the finger at government to do. And so, it's about holding our entire community accountable as well as our government, so that when you report litter in your park or graffiti on your own building, you think maybe I'm responsible for fixing this as well. And hopefully our media partners will share that message.